This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. You can find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Going Ultra. This time out, I'm talking about Ultraman Zett episode 23. This is the dub from 2023 that I am recording or, making this reaction to, whatever. And it was originally aired December 5th, 2020. The director is Koichi Sakamoto. The screenplay is attributed posthumously to Koto Fukuhara, which I assume that means that these were his ideas, but I don't know for sure. And that's about it. So this is a terrible set of incidents happens in this episode, and we learn a little bit more about it in the next episode, so I won't go too much into it. I'll just kind of talk about what's happening as opposed to why it's happening, and I think that we should be good to go from there. So we get to see the official launch of Ultroid Zero. Apparently it's been 5 days since it was initially utilized, and we are seeing 5 days later that there is a big, bad, negative reaction that kaiju are having, and again, we'll discuss that later. What we do get to see here is, before then, a final interaction between Haruki and Yoko, which is pretty interesting because the two of them are interested in each other, and it's they definitely seem more and more, it seems like they're romantically interested in each other, and we're not sure exactly what's going to happen. We get this big revelation about her arm wrestling thing. Her fixation on the arm wrestling is so that she can fulfill her father's will or desire not to have his daughter marry some weakling, which I totally understand, sir. I respect that, Mr. Nakashima, and I think that's great. It is interesting that Haruki says, "Oh, if I beat you, does that mean I have to marry you?" And she gets a little bug. She says, "Have to? Come on, you should be so lucky." And that's a cute, fun interaction, and I appreciate it. But it is a little weird to hear him say that, especially because, like in the Kanagon episode, the clip show, he was pretty sure she was going out on a date, and he seemed less than thrilled that she was going out on a date, which, if you're interested in a woman, that would make sense. Then again, they could just be playing the friend angle, that he's, so much her friend that he would just be, thinking about that or concerned about that or whatever, which, whatever. I'm not going to argue with that. And it's a kid's show, but then again, you've got hard ass in this kid's show, so I don't know. You've got the partially naked lady from the past, from the challenge of 2020 or whatever it's called, and whatever. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna quibble. There's just kind of some interesting stuff. So it just strikes me as funny that you could show one thing, but you can't show another thing. So odd, very odd. But I think that's more of a culture clash between me and the Japanese audience who this is originally intended for. So I'm not going to fight about it. But again, I'm beginning to come around to this idea of Ultroid Zero being this big threat and this abnormal thing that makes it so that it's not okay, and it makes it so that it's justified that the kaiju are freaking out and having a big issue with them. I think my biggest problem is, as much as I love this show, I think there is there's telling going on and not showing going on. So, like, for example, or to be more clear, in this episode specifically, we get neither telling nor showing. We don't really know why all these monsters are freaking out. I guess we are shown that, yes, they did start flipping out 5 days ago during the activation of Ultroid, or basically at the activation of Ultroid Zero, the initial activation, which that's good that they're laying out the evidence. But as far as how it is that these kaiju are just like sleeping peacefully and they don't need to be worried about, we've only ever really seen one instance of that, and that was with the one that got transported away during the episode where they were trying to impress the the international suits of JFG. And the hay fever episode, basically, where the one woke up and Haruki and Wyndham got to fight it off and show that their machine is capable. And I think that was the debut of Beta Smash, maybe. Anyway, so I think that that's, not good. That there's a little bit of a lack of showing exactly what the issue is, and showing that these storage people are trying to live peaceably with kaiju, because it's basically been, kaiju shows up, you kill it, and that's the end of it. So I don't really see where the sympathy is coming for kaiju. And like Yuka rather makes a comment like, "Oh, you just care about the people, you just care about humans being harmed. You don't care about kaiju. Kaiju live on this planet too." So I mean, there's a statement, there's a bit of dialogue asserting that kaiju, lives matter, that kaiju belong on this planet as well. But I just don't think, and like, I want that to be true. That makes sense to me. Why would an organism be here? But, maybe because of my beliefs, my core beliefs, why would something be here if it's not supposed to be here? And why would something be here if it has no purpose? Like, these things have to have a purpose. Things have to be logical and reasonable, because it wouldn't make sense that it would be created otherwise. Like, God doesn't make mistakes, basically. So that's my perspective. And that wouldn't really make sense to me for that to be the case. So I don't understand where you could come from, where you could just say that, the kaiju are a mistake, and they should work within the system of the world, and it should be done logically and not really be a stretch. And I feel like it is a little bit of a stretch here. So that's not good. It's definitely a demerit, I would say. And it's interesting because while that's all true, I kind of don't care, and I kind of still like the show as much as I do, which is a lot, in spite of that stuff. So, whoops, I just made a mistake. It's okay. So that's kind of odd to me, and well, it's not kind of odd. It is odd to me, and I don't get it, but I don't necessarily need to get it. It's just weird. It's weird that these types of decisions would be made, and that these discrepancies rather would be present when it's like so clearly, like everything in the show seems to be so well put together and designed. Excuse me, I'll let me sneeze. All right, well, that's enough of me being a downer about that. I'm going to get back into things being a little more exciting. So, Ultraman Zero itself is really awesome. It was funny in the comments, almost everybody put, "Well, Ultraman Zero looks awesome. It's a bad guy," which, like, yeah, I agree. That's kind of the point, guys. Which is kind of funny it's kind of funny on a couple levels. I won't go into it. So I thought that was, I think it's interesting how cool this guy looks and how bad he is. That's definitely a good thing. I like that contrast. So again, I thought that was good. But like seeing his attacks, seeing the Ultra Zero attacks are very cool. It's very energetic, very dynamic. And honestly, I've brought up Ultraman Guyver previously, and I have a feeling, or I get a vibe of Guyver from Belial's son, whatever his name is, from Geet. I get a Guyver vibe from Geet, and I think it's a really cool vibe that I get from him, and I like it a lot. But it's mostly his, like, celestial whatever form that kind of goes away after he gives the medal to Haruki, and the medal for him to become Delta Rise Claw. So after he gets that, then we have it looks like Geet is just this regular one. He's not like Goldstorm or I don't know, whatever he's called, Galaxy Blast. I think it's an ice cream. Anyway, he stops being that one and he becomes this other one, or the regular Geet, which is fine, whatever. Even though I like that form, but that guy has Guyver vibes. This Ultra Zero also has Guyver vibes because he's got those forearm weapons that go forward like Tonfa almost, but also they extend back, and they're kind of like blades, like Guyver has. And then his final attack with the D4 is kind of like the Mega Smasher to me. It definitely feels like that, and I think that's pretty cool. Again, I really like the Guyver designs, and I actually uh, Sagic Sir pointed out. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm messing up your. I haven't looked at your name in a couple days. And I stumbled on it before, so I'm gonna stumble on it again, buddy. Sorry. Anyway, but he pointed out that like Blazar has these weird, I think he said camel toe, which is funny. Um, and I agree that's kind of the design, but honestly, his foot made me think of the Guyver, and I don't know, Cedric, sir, you familiar with Guyver or not? Because I love Guyver. My grandpa showed it to me when I was a kid, and I like in middle school got all the VHSs from Suncoast, which is a very old place that doesn't exist anymore, and lent it to my buddies, and I loved the ultra violence of it and stuff, and it was super cool. But anyway, there's nothing heroic about a Zoidoid. Um, that's what I have to say about that. But I brought up Guyver here before talking about Zett, and like Ava and Zett and Guyver honestly feel like they might be influences, and that little bit of G Gundam. Which, by the way, I found out that Domon Kashu's Japanese voice actor played Alien Barossa 2, who got the shining finger done to him by Wyndham and Yoko, which was super cool. And that totally makes sense why that happened now. But anyway, at least that's what I heard over in a Discord the other day. So anyway, that's pretty cool, pretty fun. But anyway, yeah, I definitely feel like a Guyver-ish vibe from this guy too. And he is an out-of-control weapon, and he is vastly superior to the weapons that people here have on Earth. But he was all coordinated by an alien guy, to spoil it a little bit for next episode. But yeah, that's a problem. That's not good, and he's definitely a bad hombre. So, and then his final attack, the big D4 ray, the way he pulls his arms apart, definitely feels like the Mega Smasher, which is a Guyver move. So that's pretty cool to me. I do like that a lot. And let me see. Yeah, I don't really have much more else to say other than like this was an exciting episode. I liked how fierce the fighting was from Z himself, and I liked how like the underwater fight was really cool, and just seeing all these kaiju attacking at once was really neat, and like there's a lot I liked about it, but at the same time I'm still perplexed a little bit by how some of the I'm a little bit perplexed as to how some of the stuff got like just told to us, and it wasn't really shown in a good way that I think makes it so that it's, I don't know, believable is the right way to say it, or makes it so that it's like understandable that this is why everything that's happening is happening, because it kind of feels like it's just like this is what they wanted to make happen, and they didn't necessarily do a very good job of planning it out so that it would be the most logical thing to happen, and like all of a sudden now we really care about kaiju, and we haven't really before, and that bothers me, and I don't know what to do with that, because like the premise is good and the idea is nice. It's a very nice, sweet, like cool idea, but at the same time I just don't feel like we've had the necessary setup to really make it work and to make it feel earned. So far, like this episode specifically didn't make me feel like they'd earned that stuff, so I don't know what else to say. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm very excited. I'll be releasing soon the next episode, episode 24, discussion of my thoughts. So we'll see how that goes, because we're almost at the end of Ultraman Zett, and we'll be starting Blazar very soon, and that's super exciting to me. So anyway, stay tuned. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and if you thought that that they had earned everything that's going on here, and if they're doing a good enough job in getting, justifying the payoffs that they're saying that they want in this, or showing that they want in this episode. Anyway, with that, I hope that you are well, that you be well. This is MJ signing out. I hope you enjoyed that. Go to mjmunoz.com to leave any questions, comments, or other feedback you might have. There you can find all of my analysis, art, and fiction. I cover books, tokusatsu, comic books, anime, and more. Look around. You're sure to find something else that you'll enjoy as well. This has been a Story Over Everything production.